Welcome to the Frankenstein Podcast. Today we'll be analyzing the 4 letters written by Robert Walton, which are addressed to his sister, Margaret Sarville. Sarville, do you guys know? I don't know. But yeah. Introducing the first summary.
Walton writes to his sister Margaret, enlightening her with word that he's alive and well, and speaks of the weather, visualizing the sight of London and the icy weather that travels to him. The man tells of his own emotions, including the way he feels about everything around him. Walton also reflects on old times shared between Margaret and him, and thinks of writers he dare not to compare himself to. He tells of his tales overseas and of the nights he spent educating himself. Walton signs off with the question of whether or not he will return and when the next time he will speak to his beloved sister will be.
Summary 2. Robert Walton is now witnessing cold climates, but has taken a step closer to his goals, as he had collected loyal sailors for the enterprise he will be taking on. Although he's enthusiastic, he has no friends, and there is no one to share his achievements with. Continuing his paper, he still feels that it is inexorable for him not to share his work, even as he craves a companion. Learning more about languages, he tells to his sister of his lieutenant and the master, exploring their characteristics, informing on how they met and conversate with each other. The master's life is told of a Russian woman, mistress, marriage, and farmhouse, where he'd mastered quotations, or whatever you call them, expected to live the rest of his days on.
In letter 3, Walton is writing another letter to his sister, and he is able to send it through a merchant that he met along the way. Nothing much happened since letter 2, except that he is now out at sea. He describes the hardworking and integrity of the sailors that he has hired, and now they have raised his spirits. He talks about strong winds and a leak being the only problems he had faced so far, and how the sheets of ice are warning them of danger up ahead. But Watson had hoped to keep the problems at a minimum, and at the end of the letter, he describes how the stars are witnesses to his triumph as he leaves the letter off, saying farewell to his sister.
Walton and his men aboard are stuck in sheets of ice. Something ahead of them is an apparition of a giant figure going across the ice. The next day, they find another man, but all of his dogs are dead, and he's not doing so well. They warm the man up with alcohol, and he explodes into a melancholy emotion. Walton wants the new man to be the friend he never had. He ends the letter by telling his sister that the man will tell his story soon.
And those were the 4 summaries for letter 1, 2, and 3.
And
4 and 4. Oops.
Analysis.
Let's continue.
Let's talk about the analysis, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the analysis,
Character analysis.
We got the character analysis, And the 4 letters that we read, there were only a couple characters that really impacted the beginning of the story. There's Robert Walton, the main character, and Walton's sister that he writes his letters to. And at the end of the letter, letter 4, he talks about a man named Victor Frankenstein. Robert Walton started off his letters with him writing to his sister about how he had entered and is far north of London. His sister Margaret never responds to him, but he still writes these letters. Walton sits still, looking for a trustworthy crew to go with him to his adventures, even though this is not his first time sailing. He continues to explore and experience new things he'd never encountered. He's very curious and intelligent, which leads him to explore further. He makes sure to keep his sister updated, even though she can never respond or write back, telling her that he is safe in all the adventures, experiences, and troubles that he faces on his journey. In the last letter, Walton meets a man named Victor Frankenstein, and yet we still don't know that much about him.
Continuing off of that, the setting analysis, Walton travels through London, Petersburg, Archangel, and then on a boat in the 1700s. In the 1700s, galvanism was introduced in the real world, which inspired the story. In the story, Walton travels far and wide, looking for men to explore with him and expand his knowledge. This shows that he is very ambitious for success and supports the overall theme of the story. Walton doesn't stop for anything, as he said before, and he always gets through things because that's the path he's chosen. He wants to use everyone around him and explore the places he's visited, like Archangel. There, he looks for merchants and others to go out with him. This is him being focused towards his true purpose, which is becoming successful.
Okay, continuing on with that, I'd like to mention that galvanism was like the experiment on like the bodies and stuff using electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in case they didn't know. Anyways, for the plot, Watson journeys to England or like the place or like near the sea to like hire the sailors and like a ship in order to search for knowledge. So like he also talks about needing friendship, and then after a while when he has everything hired, he sets out on the journey and he experiences leaks and strong winds and ice sheets surround them eventually, and they see like a figure on a sledge. The next day, like they helped another stranger that was stranded in the sea on another sledge onto the ship, and then they made sure that he got back to health. And then afterward, when he gets better, the stranger starts to have a paroxysm, and with agitation, he lets out his emotions to Watson. And like this stranger is also told by the crew members that there was another person out on the sledge, and like the stranger was like telling them that he was pursuing him, and that's how he got into the mess. And then like the stranger revealed that his name was Victor, and he used to go after knowledge too. And then the stranger, that Victor ardently decided to give Watson advice to not end up as he did.
Theme analysis. Well, the theme of Frankenstein is ambition for success because he has a strong desire to achieve something. One even that shows this theme is when Walton first encounters the man they found. He tells the stranger that he is on a quest for knowledge. This shows the theme because Walton explicitly says that knowledge is what he's after. And so this expedition shows how ambitious for success he is. Another place in the story that supports this theme is when Walton tells the man that his path has already been determined. In the scene, the theme is shown because Walton has already chosen his path, and he's not turning back. As you can see, the theme of Frankenstein is ambition for success.
Alright, so the character descriptions. Robert Walton is intellectual. That's a vocabulary word, by the way.
Yeah.
Who educates himself and writes to his sister of the events that take place along his journey to discover and informs her of his daily life, as well as the mere challenges he experiences.
Continuing on, Margaret Seville is the sister of Walton. Her character is uncharted, and the only information we know of is that she is vital to Walton, and they supposedly have a firm bond in which her brother writes to her when convenient.
Another character is like the master, who was like a mysterious man. His life includes a tale of a Russian woman and mistress, and the beginning and the ending of a marriage. He was subtle as he wanted to live his days out on a farmhouse. Should we do like the vocab? Like before the question.
Vocabulary included agitation, enterprise, triumph, apparition, melancholy, intellectual, integrity, inexorable, is that right? And then, do you guys know what this one is?
Which one?
9. Sudden attack of an emotion.
Paroxysm.
Paroxysm, something like that. Yeah.
Ardently.
Paroxysm.
Oh. And ardently. And with that, these vocab words were interpreted into the summaries and used within each letter.
For sure.
Yeah.
Questions.
We have.
Could Walton become a dynamic character or remain static throughout the rest of the novel? How come? What do you guys think?
I think, well, like, they wouldn't have him randomly, unless, like, it just continues off of Victor, and, like, maybe, like, the whole other rest of the book is, like, Victor's story, of how he ended up there.
I feel like
But, like, I didn't read any of the other chapters, so
It's just a prediction. It's something you can take off from the current evidence. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I don't.
I think Walton could
Become
Change.
dynamic?
change like into a more involved character or something like that because of how him and like Victor shown at the end, they're like kind of different since like Walton still wants to learn a lot more, and
Yeah.
like based off of that.
It could bring new possibilities because he was always talking about having some kind of companion on this journey. And now that Victor's here and he's taken the time to talk to him, there could be something that happens, but we don't know. Maybe Walton can die halfway.
I feel like he has to do something with the rest of the story.
yeah,
Walton?
Yeah, because if he's in the beginning of it, they're probably not going
There
to cut
is-
him off just like that.
There has to be importance.
So you guys
Big
think
facts.
a dynamic character.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Like,
He'll probably change. He'll be a dynamic
yeah,
character.
he'd probably become more dynamic because they wouldn't just like probably just throw away a character after just a couple of letters.
But what about the environment? How does the environment reflect on the mood of the story?
I mean, if you compare it, the mood's kind of sulky.
Yeah.
Because like they're in England, it's cold. All these sheets of ice are like
Yeah.
coming towards their ship, and
Yeah,
they
something
experience
almost
all this stuff.
So
Yeah,
he's always facing something troubling. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the weather is even like worse because he's always writing about it too and saying how it's a problem, including like how the ship like sprung leaks and all that.
And that brings us to our next question. What situation can be represented as a symbolic, and how?
Maybe when he found Victor, like that could
That-
represent like something big, like
A
a
new
big
beginning.
change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the mysterious figure that they saw before that
Yeah.
Victor said that he was chasing.
The demon, he said. He called
Yeah.
him a demon. That's-
True. That's true. How do you think the letters can correlate with the rest of the story in Frankenstein?
I think it like just adds Victor into the story because Victor was added on the last chapter and it was building up Walton meeting Victor.
Yeah, and it does give us more information on Walton, so when we actually do read the chapters, we won't be as lost.
True. That is
It's
true.
like a helpful guide.
Okay, what could possibly be Victor's story he is going to tell Watson and explain how he ended up stranded on the sledge, or like make a prediction of how he might have ended up stranded.
So our question is, why was Victor on that sledge? So why do you guys think Victor was on that sledge?
What did his boat crash?
No, he was chasing the demon, he's called it.
Yeah, he was
but
saying.
like I don't know why he would have chased the demon.
Well, maybe because he's like Walton and he wants to like he was curious, so he chased it. And
He said that he was searching for knowledge.
yeah.
I don't really know how the demon would go with knowledge.
Well, like,
Why would he call it a demon? That's like
Yeah.
the real question. Why would he call that person a
He
demon?
didn't really know what it was. It was
I know.
Just like a giant man.
It adds suspense too. So there's that. There's a cliffhanger.
All right, brother. You know what I mean? We done with our podcast of Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. We'll see y'all in the next one. Let us know if you have any questions.